How's it going, Star Seekers? Welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at Ponpu, a stylish Bomberman inspired title which aims to breathe new life into an all-time classic by putting its own twist on the Bomberman formula with some new mechanics, a monochrome colour scheme and some stylish artwork. But can it really match what I deem to be the greatest strategic maze-based battle game ever created? Or is it just destined to bomb like the god-awful atrocity that was Bomberman Act Zero? Let's blow this review wide open and find out. So right away at the main menu we get some stylish artwork, but it's coupled with a cheesy American title announcer who thankfully has very few lines in the game.
Ponpu!
Hitting L and R takes us to the main menu where we're given a selection of game modes. Now there are 3 multiplayer game modes, but first let's take a look at the game's single player campaign mode, whose story focuses around a duck god who for some reason has sent his best soldiers riding on asteroids towards somewhere, but the mysterious duck is having none of it and decides to wake up one of the soldiers, Ponpu, and sends him off to save the universe. And that's about as much as you're getting in terms of storyline. Now story mode contains 6 stages, each with their own theme, but before starting we get to select our Ponpu, who comes in 4 different flavours, and I went with this wired looking green one. After this we get to select a special bomb from 2 available bombs, or eggs as they're known in this game, the first being a drill bomb which hides underground and sticks in surfaces, and the second a remote bomb which we can detonate at will, and of course this was the best and only option in my opinion. So we begin story mode in Toad Cave, which I presume is one of the asteroids, as is the rest of the stages, and we get a short tutorial which teaches us the controls. Movement is grid based like classic Bomberman, and we can use the left thumbstick or D-pad to walk around. We can drop bombs with the B button which explode after a set period of time, but unlike classic Bomberman where you only start with a single bomb, in Ponpu you can plant as many bombs as you like. As well as your standard bomb, you can also drop your special bomb with the Y button, but you can only have one of these bombs in play at any time. Now it's worth noting that bombs in Ponpu explode in an area around them instead of sending out flames in 4 directions, though the remote bomb does do this to a certain extent. The tutorial also teaches about the shield that we can use to kick bombs in a straight line, and it can also be used to deflect incoming bombs around you or stun opponents if you get close enough to them. Now each world in story mode contains 4 levels, and each level sees you making your way through a maze of rooms in search for a golden key to unlock the exit door. Along the way you'll encounter a few enemies who try to hunt you down, but a trusty bomb will set them right. If however they do manage to get up close, then they'll attack you, taking away one of your hearts seen in the top left. And losing all your hearts means you've got to start the level from the start again, though some levels do feature checkpoints. Now these pesky enemies can get a bit of a pain in the later stages as they're often positioned in shady locations, and you also have a bunch of different traps to contend with, such as spikes, buzzsaws and turrets, but turrets can be destroyed with bombs and other traps can be navigated past by hitting the X button to perform a short dash manoeuvre. So generally the story stages are all pretty similar in terms of their objective, unlike classic Bomberman where you move in a linear fashion from screen to screen, clearing enemies as you go. Stages in Ponpu are a little more free roam and have several different rooms for you to explore, with the majority of them just containing nothing but enemies and the odd secret room which reward you with an additional heart for the duration of the stage. Now you also occasionally come face to face with other ducks and have to duke it out with them, starting with one duck and later battles including additional ducks, but their AI isn't great and these battles are generally pretty easy, especially with remote bombs. Once you get to the 4th stage on a world, you then get to face off against a boss, but I felt these battles were relatively generic in terms of the mechanics. You have one boss battle with a big fat frog who jumps from location to location like Monstro from The Binding of Isaac, and another boss causes spikes to pop out from the floor. Bosses generally have 2 phases, with their attacks changing slightly or becoming faster in the 2nd phase, and you basically just keep hitting them with bombs until they're dead before moving on to the next world. Now, if I'm being honest, I did get a little bored with the story mode. I didn't really enjoy wandering between rooms searching for keys, and I did get annoyed with several bosses. namely the floor spike boss due to the hitboxes for his spikes lingering long after the spikes had passed, and a laser boss who took me a lifetime to kill as he just kept hiding behind impassable lasers. Now if you're a fan of the classic Bomberman story mode, then you'll likely be disappointed with Ponpu's version, which unlike many Bomberman games can't actually be played in 2-player co-op mode. Moving on now to the game's multiplayer modes, which are undoubtedly what you'll spend most of your time playing. Each of them can be played online or offline with up to 3 other players, or against NPC opponents if like me you've got no friends, but again the NPC AI is rather lacking, which makes for underwhelming battles. These multiplayer versus modes allow you to select your Ponpu and special bomb type, which includes 2 new bombs. The toxic bomb, which leaves a cloud of confusion gas behind after it explodes, switching around the movement controls of players who enter it, and the ice bomb, which freezes players who go near it into a block of ice. You're able to select from 8 different stages in versus mode, and there's some decent variety to them, including a classic Bomberman layout. Getting into the battles themselves then, each player has a life bar and can survive 3 explosions before dying and losing a heart, and the game ends when either the timer runs down or players run out of lives and only 1 player remains. Playing the game online I had no issues finding games, and of course being a pro Bomberman I won every single one of my games. In addition to the standard deathmatch game mode, you also have coin steal mode, where players have to collect and hold as many coins as they can until the timer runs out, and they also drop coins when they die. And you also have paint battle, a 2v2 game mode where bombs paint the arena when either they explode or are kicked across the arena. Now while I did find these online modes quite enjoyable and I had no issues getting into games, I didn't find them to be as fun or as hectic as traditional Bomberman multiplayer games. To start with, I think this is partially due to there being no pickups in the game, which contributed a lot to variety and strategy in Bomberman battles. Secondly, the camera moves around a lot in games, which is a little off-putting and there's no option to make it static. And finally, whilst I did really like the game's visuals, I felt that having almost everything monochrome did have its issues, as bombs don't really stand out against the rest of the arena, and I think the inclusion of different colour schemes for the game would have helped solve this problem. So in all, I'd say Ponpu is an okay Bomberman style game, with its best feature being its awesome artwork, though it also has a pretty decent quirky soundtrack. While its single player story mode is a little lackluster, there's still plenty of fun to be had in multiplayer, especially if you can get a bunch of friends round for some local battles. So now let's get on to rating Ponpu. Now I rate games between 1 and 5 stars, with a shovelware stamp of approval reserved for the worst games on the eShop. This rating is based on my own personal opinion on the quality and quantity of a title's gameplay and whether I think it offers value for money to potential buyers. For a rating, I'd give Ponpu 3 out of 5 stars. While it strives to update and push the genre in a new direction, Ponpu doesn't quite manage to be anything other than mediocre in both its single player and multiplayer modes. I personally wouldn't say it comes close to the level of fun offered by OG Bomberman, but if I'm honest, my opinions are likely a bit biased due to me being a long-time Bomberman fan. You can get Ponpu from the UK Switch eShop for £14.99, or from the US eShop for $14.99. Alternatively, the game is also available on PlayStation, Xbox and Steam. And that's it for this review of Ponpu. Don't forget to hit that like button if it helped you out, and let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game and this review in the comments section below. As always, hit that subscribe button if you like the channel and want to see more Nintendo Switch reviews and content, and drop on into the Starseekers Discord server to join its growing community. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care and game on.